Hello and welcome to my blog. Today I'm going to briefly discuss our team's research plan. But first, before I do that, I would like to acknowledge our team, each member, Jesse Harris, Audrey Fain, myself, Paul Roach, Mike McGrath, and Darren Seamster. And I also want to acknowledge the other parties that have helped with our research and also throughout the rest of this course. The other team, Gain-Based Learning, for their support and their evidence, giving us evidence of their review and their comments and suggestions. That was very helpful. Also want to acknowledge Dr. J.L. Cordiff from the School of Education at Liberty University, who has been extremely helpful all throughout our research and perspective, and also through our literature review. Thank you very much, all of you. The title of our research prospectus is Administrative Level Training, Evidence of Benefits of Peer Coaching to Diminish Resistance to Using New Technology. Now, the reason we chose this was because one of the key elements in advancing technology is with administrative support. So much of our literature suggests that. In our literature review, you'll find references to that, and you will find an option to request a view of our literature review. And also you can find an option to request our research prospectus through any one of the members that I just mentioned. Just simply email or reach out in another way through Blackboard and let us know if you're interested. All right, so I would like to first discuss the contribution to the further awareness of development of technology, starting with the corporate level. That is a very important key. At the corporate level, if the attitude is correct and helpful and positive about new technology, which is not going away, and using new technology for the benefit of giving the corporation or institution a competitive edge, it is so important that there's an administrative level positive influence on the rest of the corporation. Some of the key words I'd like to discuss are in this research prospectus. You will find that there are some tests that are performed. So I'd like to discuss those tests with you briefly. Emotional Intelligence Assessment, EQI, Emotional Intelligence, EI, Information and Computer Technology, and Peer Coaching are the key words. The tests, EQI test, discovers for the person being assessed with this test the emotional intelligence, which is a very important level of self-awareness, and being able to use that information to be able to decrease the anxiety when it comes to change. Information on a person's resistance to change is very important in affecting a positive attitude towards a change in the workplace. In this case, it would be towards new technology. Emotional intelligence is similar to that, except it's not necessarily a test. It's just an awareness of a person's emotional intelligence. So that would actually come through largely through the EQI test, which I just mentioned. Information and computer technology, that is another important keyword which we've become familiar with. Information and computer technology, ICT, is of course big if you were in technology or educational technology, and it's the upcoming trend basically of where we're at with technology today. So any Google or any research on that term could identify these different opportunities to learn about the new trend. Peer coaching is something we've discussed in the past, and that is also part of our literature review, peer coaching, the benefits of peer coaching in blended learning environments. So today we're going to discuss how the intervention of peer coaching and the implementation of a workshop on emotional intelligence. So to discuss who the variables are, or which groups the variables are, and which group is a control group, the control group is going to be basically the group that is not provided intervention of peer coaching in emotional intelligence workshop. So the sample is from a human resource department, two groups, and the population would be corporate level environments. So the sample of the mentioned group, human resources, sample one, the dependent variable will be um, the group that actually does not receive intervention. So the dependent variable is the phenomenon basically of resistance to change. The independent variable will be a few points, and I'm going to discuss those right now. The independent variables will be variable 1, independent variable 1, which is a total EI score, emotional intelligence score, done through the EQI, which is broken down into 5 composites: self-perception, self-expression, interpersonal, decision-making, and stress management. Total stress management will be part of that score. The independent variable 2 would be peer coaching and formal mentoring. The dependent variable is, again, resistance to change. The research design is going to be a quantitative study looking at the negative correlation effects between emotional intelligence and resistance to change. We're also going to look at the effects of peer coaching in a formal mentoring intervention. Predictor variables would be lack of understanding of one's emotional intelligence and the lack of using one's emotional intelligence for the benefit of change. Either predictor variable causes a negative attitudes change. In other words, with the increase of emotional awareness and usage, there's a decrease in resistance to change. Implementation of the EI workshop is going to provide a self-assessment of emotional intelligence, thus positively affecting the attitude towards change. Implementation of peer coaching is going to be in a formal, will positively, let me back up. The implementation of peer coaching and formal mentoring will be will be a positive effect on a person's attitude towards technology. So the sampling, there will be a random sample, so it's a true quantitative research of 60 people who have taken the EQI prior. Both the control group and the experimental group are going to take an EQI assessment, and then after random selection occurred, random assignment will be determined to which of the 60 people out of the random selection are going to be the control group and which of the 60 people are going to be the experimental group. So basically what we're going to come down to at the end of this whole thing is the determination of the difference in stress level and resistance to change before implementation and after implementation of peer coaching and the EQI, thus the EQI being an opportunity for the person to do some self-examination, and also that would help to decrease the resistance to change, the anxiety and the resistance to change. There'll be also a questionnaire, and at the end of the questionnaire, there'll be some information available that assesses the individual's resistance to change. So the graph that is available, if you do decide to look into our research prospectus, is going to give you a good example of what it was going to look like at the end of this whole test. Assumptions would be also that the sample process is focused on one corporation. It's assumed that participants will have the time needed to complete assessments and questionnaires, attend the workshop training, and complete peer coaching and formal mentoring. References are going to be provided for you, and I hope that you find a very good interest in this research perspective. And my hope also is that it will increase awareness to the effect that corporate level training and corporate level implementation of new technology has on the development and the acceptance of intervention. The acceptance of new technology in the corporate level. Thank you very much.